Jesus says forgive 77 times, and you can barely manage 3, and you feel like a terrible Christian because of it. I'm David, a Lutheran pastor, and I used to think this was about trying harder. I was wrong. Jesus is actually quoting the Bible's first cancel culture advocate. And nobody talks about this. The next minutes will change how you see forgiveness forever. A dark Genesis story almost nobody talks about. Why Jesus flips it completely backwards. And the exact moment when forgiveness becomes possible for you. Let's start with a murder. In Genesis chapter 4, everyone knows Cain killed Abel. But few know or remembers what happened 3 generations later. Meet Lamech, Cain's great-great-great-grandson. Cain got protection from God. Anyone who killed him would suffer 7-fold vengeance. That was mercy. But Lamech, he weaponized it. Listen to what he brags to his wives. I killed a man for wounding me, a young man for bruising me. A wound becoming a murder. A bruise becomes execution. And then he says something chilling. If Cain is avenged 7-fold, then Lamech 77 times. You hear that? 77. Remember that number. This is cancel culture's origin story. Someone makes one mistake and they lose everything. An old tweet, X post surfaces, career destroyed. A poor joke in college banned from public. We think cancel culture is new. It's not. It's Lamech. It's the exponential growth of vengeance. It's 77-fold retaliation. And it's exactly what Jesus confronts. Now jump to Matthew 18. Peter comes to Jesus with his calculator out. Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times? Peter thinks he's being super generous. The rabbis in the ancient times taught 3 times. Peter more than doubles it. He's expecting Jesus to say, "Wow, Peter, that's amazing." Because it can really be amazing forgiving someone 7 times for the same thing. And honestly, I get Peter. When someone hurts me repeatedly, I start of keeping score too. Oh, you did that to me. Will he or she do that again? Okay, now it's 2 times. I think it works that way for most of us. But watch what Jesus does. He reaches back to Genesis, to Lamech's 77-fold vengeance, and he flips it completely. I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. The exact same number where Lamech multiplied vengeance, Jesus multiplies forgiveness. Where Lamech escalated retaliation, Jesus escalated grace. This isn't random. This is Jesus taking humanity's worst impulse and reversing it entirely. Think about what this means. Cancel culture says, 1 strike, you're out. As soon as we find out anyway. Jesus says 77 strikes, you're still in. The world counts offenses. Jesus destroys the spreadsheet. But here's where it gets personal. Because you've been trying to hit that number, haven't you? 1, 2, 3. By forgiveness number 10, you're tired. By 20, you're probably resentful. By 30, maybe you're empty inside. And by 40, you're angry at yourself for not being Christian enough, to forgive enough. And that's, my friend, is where God will find you. Martin Luther wrote, "We are beggars. This is true." You see, Jesus isn't giving you a higher bar to jump over. He's showing you that the bar is impossible. On purpose. You see, we're counting wrong when we're counting the times that we forgive someone. Jesus wants us to count on His forgiveness. Think of it like standing under a waterfall. When you're under a waterfall, you don't create the water, you don't deserve the water, you don't count the gallons, you just get drenched. That's the gospel. That's grace. You're not the source of forgiveness. You're the receiver and sometimes the pipeline for others. And this changes everything about how we forgive. So here's an exercise on what exactly to try to do when you hit your limit. Stop the math. When you think that's the third time they've done this, stop. Say out loud, I'm counting again. Acknowledge your emptiness. Don't shame yourself. Say, God, I'm at forgiveness number 3 and I'm already empty. I have nothing left to give. Step 3, the pipeline prayer. Lord, I can't manufacture forgiveness, but I can be a pipeline. Flow through me. Let your infinite forgiveness pass through my empty hands. And step 4, act in faith. Send the text. Make the call. Say the words. Even if you feel nothing, you're not the source, remember? A disclaimer though, this is not always possible to do, but it's a good exercise to follow through in your mind. And Nelson Mandela understood this. After 27 years in prison, when he walked out, he said, as I walked out the door toward my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness behind, I'd still be a prisoner. Nelson Mandela didn't forgive because he was strong. He forgave because unforgiveness would have destroyed him. And he had that insight that so few of us have. And research backs this up. A massive study of 54,000 nurses found that those who practiced forgiveness had significantly better psychological well-being, lower levels of depression and anxiety, less chronic stress. Now, the research doesn't say unforgiveness will give you a heart attack or take years off your life, but it does show that chronic anger and resentment create a stress response in your body. Higher blood pressure, elevated stress hormones, your body literally stays in fight or flight mode. Harvard Medical School puts it simply, forgiveness calms your stress response. It's not magic, it's even biology. But here's the thing about this. This isn't about the health benefits. If you forgive just to lower your blood pressure, you're still making it about you. You're still counting. The spreadsheet is still there. It's about this. The same Jesus who says, forgive 77 times, is the one who from the cross said, Father, forgive them, while being murdered, without anyone apologizing, without conditions. And that's your waterfall. That's what flows through you. When the hurt comes back tomorrow, and it will, don't think that's forgiveness number 4. Think, time to stand under the waterfall again. And here's what changes when you stop counting. At least in my life, when I don't count the number of times I forgive, I realize that I am also doing wrong things, perhaps to the same person. That keeping score in that sense is not helpful. It's not helping me to live a better life, to live in God's truth, to help the next person. It's not about being strong. And you can apply this in every relationship. Within your marriage, stop counting your spouse's failures. In parenting, stop counting your kids' mistakes or your parents'. In work, stop counting your colleagues' offenses. And in church, stop counting the pastor's shortcomings. At least the ones that shouldn't matter that much. In a world of Lamech's 77-fold vengeance, in a culture that celebrates permanent unforgiveness, you can be different, not because you're better, but because you're connected to an infinite source. the cross to Jesus Christ himself. And you know what's beautiful? When Jesus says, "Where 2 or 3 gather in my name," that's right after the 77 times teaching. Even when it's just you and the person who hurt you, or your friend, Christ is there, in the forgiveness and in the struggle, in the empty hands, reaching for grace. So here's the truth that changes everything. In a world of Lamech's escalating revenge, where cancel culture says unforgivable, where you exhaust yourself trying to forgive enough, Jesus says, stop counting, start flowing. You're not the reservoir, you're the river. Here's what I would like you to do right now. Comment below with just a number. The number of times you've tried to forgive someone. Maybe it's 3, maybe it's 300. No judgment, just honesty. I will read every comment on this video, and I promise you, you're not alone in this struggle. And remember this, tomorrow, when that hurt resurfaces, when you think, I can't forgive again, the waterfall is still flowing, the source hasn't dried up. Christ's Father forgive them still includes you as well, and them. Maybe the moment you stop counting forgiveness is the moment you discover it was never yours to count. It was always His to give, through you, infinitely. Grace and peace to you.